Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and it just occurred to me that ZipRecruiter has been sponsoring my podcast, The Way I Heard It, for the last 10 years. Consequently, I've agreed to sing their jingle at the end of this commercial in 4-part harmony, all by myself. Why would I do that? Because years ago, when the MicroWorks Foundation was expanding and I was desperate to hire a few uniquely qualified individuals, I posted a job for free on ZipRecruiter, and I found the people I was looking for in less than 24 hours. It's that simple. Ever since, I've been telling my audience that ZipRecruiter got me the most qualified, most interested people. And now I'm telling you. Post a job for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip and watch what happens. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. And now, here's their official jingle in 4-part harmony. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match at ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
We love our pets. They're our best friends as we navigate life's ups and downs with a wag or a purr just when we need it. The Royal Veterinary College is there for our pets, home to Europe's largest small animal referrals hospital, with over 200 specialists providing expert care 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The bond between a pet and their person is worth fighting for, and that's the belief that inspired the RVC Memory Tree, a beautiful handmade sculpture standing in the heart of the RVC Small Animal Referrals Hospital, adorned with gold, silver and copper leaves, each one engraved with the name of a beloved pet, and each one funding the extraordinary work happening there every day. For just £10 a month, you can dedicate a leaf in the name of your pet, celebrating your pet's life, whilst also helping to fund life-saving treatment and care for animals in need. Visit rvcact.com/memory tree to dedicate a leaf today and let your pet's memory live on.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic to cosplay to Schitt's Creek to Supernatural and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and on this episode, we are finally doing, and I know I keep saying this, but really, we have had to reschedule this a couple times, all on me, but we are finally going to be doing our episode. That was Tiff's wonderful suggestion, talking about iconic Black sitcom moms. So I am very, very excited for this episode. I'm glad we finally did it. So joining me for this episode, I'm just going to get right into introducing them, is first up the host of OK Real Quick, Carla. Hello, Carla.
Yeah, hello. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Woo, woo. Woo. Cheerleaders everywhere. Was that a meow that you just did?
No, that was like that.
Oh, that.
Yes. I was doing the thing.
Erin's like, I hear meow, meow, meow.
The horn. I am positively purring with excitement.
That was great. Every time we watch Jeopardy, my sister's like, when it goes, welcome to Jeopardy, or that's Jeopardy or whatever, and she's like, pow, 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 pow.
That's adorable.
And then, of course, the person who suggested this episode, Tiff. Hello, Tiff.
Hi. Hey, how you doing? I'm so excited about this. It's finally here.
Meow, meow. I did just want to quickly say, in case this does come up, because it could happen and I didn't write this in the thing, it's just a quick trigger warning for racism and misogynoir. So I just wanted to put that in there too, just in case. But we're going to just get right to it. There's not really an IMDb description that I could read except for all the different various television shows. But Carla, who was the first Black sitcom that had an impact on you?
Well, first, I want to just state my criteria, because a sitcom mom must be notable for being a mom in a sitcom. it can't be someone who's Black and a mom, but we seldom see them interact with their child. And the mom and child relationship should be a large part of the sitcom story. So,
Thank you for that.
that said, the first one, I'm happy to clarify. If there's anything else you want to ask, please feel free, or submit it through my manager, Tiff.
No, I just meant that was great. No, I think that's a great qualification there.
I'm happy to forward any and all communications to Carla for additional verification and clarification.
Well, now that we've established the hierarchy, so the first one, and it's going to be like such an obvious one, it's Claire Huxtable. She's the blueprint, I think, for the Black sitcom. Because, living in Mexico, there aren't exactly like a ton of Black women, especially on TV. I know you're shocked, especially in the 80s. Like, I know. Have a seat, take a breath, because, I don't want you to faint. But my dad wanted us to see like Black people existing. So he brought us a VCR and he recorded off the TV the Cosby Show, and he recorded there was like a bootleg version of The Wiz that he brought. It was that, and also Trading Places, which is not exactly a movie that young children should watch. I tried telling that to my parents in the early 80s. Who cares? Like, they're fine. They have therapy, is what they would probably say. Like, there's always therapy in the end. I also think everybody's first view of boobies should be Jamie Lee Curtis's in Trading Places. So I think it was a formative experience that has been transformative and important in my, in my, anyway. So going back to wholesome content, we watched a ton of Cosby Show, and I loved all of the characters and their interactions, and they were so funny. And I watched the episode where they do the song on the stairs when they're doing The Nighttime is the Right Time. I watched it 500,000 times. I didn't know any English, so I didn't know what the hell they were saying. I didn't know what they were singing. All I remember was baby over and over again. But through it all, Claire was the person who really was running things, and she was a person. If you wanted to go to somebody for a funny piece of advice, you go to Cliff. If you wanted like an actual, helpful parent, you went to Claire. Claire was the person that, she could talk to you sweetly and lovingly and gently and guide you through life. And she could also, if you don't let her find out that you're up to big business in Baltimore, because she will absolutely tell you what's what. But I think that was like such a wonderful thing to see, because she's a very firm parent, but she's also very loving. And I think that a lot of TV shows before that, the mom was very put upon or kind of in the background. Like, it was always like the male lead who like shown, like in everything from the Jeffersons and Good Times and all of that. Like, the mom went through stuff, and that got to be funny. But Claire got to be just so brilliant and funny and just lovely, incredibly smart. Like, she just starts talking to you in like Spanish and just starts reciting Shakespeare out of nowhere. Like, the first time that I really heard Shakespeare spoken was when she did that, like that bit of the speech of the Three Witches. Like, what? Just amazing. But the mom part was such I think an important thing, and I think it's great that my dad had us watch that show, because it really was it was a view of a Black family with a mom who was not only somebody that you wanted to have in your life as like a mom figure, but somebody to aspire to be. Like, I think like it's one of those characters, that I didn't even think at the time that I was like kind of aiming for a Claire Huxtable aura. But thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I think that's something to aspire to that I maybe have aspired to and didn't really like consciously, wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. But absolutely, I wanted to be cool and smart and well dressed and, respected and have people listen when I speak, not out of fear necessarily, although sometimes like that's not a terrible thing, but like the respect that she commanded just by her presence was amazing. And Felicia Rashad, who else could be Claire Huxtable? I don't think anybody else could be Claire Huxtable.
Yeah, one of the best all-time greatest television performances ever. Yeah.
Yes.
And Tiff, is it the same for you?
So no surprise. Yes, it's definitely Claire Huxtable. And, when I can remember the pilot, and even though I was, but a wee lass at the time, but I still remember the pilot. And, her name at the time was Felicia Ayers Allen. And then Ayers was her mother's maiden name. And she used that as a professional name. And then when she married Ahmad Rashad, she, of course, became Felicia Rashad. And even when they divorced, she's still Felicia Rashad. So I think she likes the way it sounds. I like the way it sounds. So it flows off of the tongue. Just the amount of, I loved her well-roundedness. I felt like she was a real Renaissance woman, because here you have this woman she's ambitious. She's an attorney. She's pushing to be partner at her firm. She gets it. And she's so giddy when she gets it. She's not like playing it cool. She's like, let's tell the children, she runs up the stairs. And I just found that it's so charming. I think that's the thing with Claire, is that she's always so charming. But like you said, she told Vanessa, she had fun in Baltimore. What were you doing in Baltimore? And it's the way she says it, and it's like, oh, you done it, Vanessa. And Vanessa was always giving Claire the business, when she stuffed her bra and they're doing the locomotion.
Yes.
And then when she gets drunk and they're like, chug a lug. It's painting these lessons. And then when Sandra, oh Lord, Sandra, who you think is like probably the most like normal of the children, graduates, is planning on going to law school, and then, oh no, we're going to open up a wilderness store with Elvin. And Claire said, I want my $77,422.37, and I want my money now. It was those moments like that where, like, it's not just, Felicia Rashad is knowing like exactly what to do with the material, the way to talk, the way to stand, the way to interact with Cliff. He's like, well, and she's like, no, because she's like jumping on top of him. And I just found it so, her performance is so refreshing. And Claire was somebody that I wanted to emulate when I was that age. And looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, I am way older than what she was at the time. Like when the show started.
Isn't that a trip?
It's a mind. It is such a mind. It's really, really, I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy bananas, right? But just the fact that she was, she volunteered at the, community center. And like you said, Carla, when she was just, having this conversation in Spanish with the head of the community center, I think his name was Miguel, and just, conversing with him in Spanish. And then you find out like she actually didn't speak Spanish when she, when she auditioned. Somebody played her audition tape to be Claire, and she's just like doing, it's literal gibberish, but she did it with style. She did it with style and with flair. And so, obviously
she sold the illusion.
There you go. She did. And they're like, okay, hey, she's got too much flavor. She's got too much passion. This is our woman, right? One of my favorite episodes is when they're down at Hillman for an installation of the new president. And she's up there, and she sings with the Hillman, air quotes, choir with their chorus. And she just has a lovely voice, right? So this is just another thing. It's like, okay, you're an attorney, you're a mother, you can sing, you can dance, you can do it all, Claire. And it's Oh, and just as a side, Hillman College filmed at my college, Spelman College. All of the exterior shots, my college, Spelman College. Just a little trivia for you. Atlanta, Georgia, you know. So, yeah, I mean, that was like my formative. Yeah, I mean, literally, that was my formative idea of what I don't want to say what a mom should be, because my mom is great. I love her very much. Shout out to you, Mom, in case you're listening when this comes on, which hopefully you will, because I tell you when it's coming out. You know, my mother, she worked as well as obviously had a family too. But Claire had so much flair, I think, with hers. And I was just like, yeah, I want to be her. I have not attained that level. Let me tell you right now. Not to mention she had 5 children.
Oh, I know.
Don't know how she did that. Don't know how she did that. And be an attorney and, you know, also volunteer and be able to sing and be, you know, do all this other stuff and host friends and family and things like that. Yeah. How?
Keep an impeccable house.
Exactly. I'm like, where is the help?
And always stylish. Okay, sure.
Because the style is like impeccable.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Iconic.
But I just think just the way she was also like had those normal moments as well. Like, and then the extraordinary moments, like with the snake in the house. She wasn't afraid to be scared of a snake.
Yeah.
And when she's holding him in a headlock, Cliff, he's right there, Cliff. It's just amazing. It's an amazing, it's
so good.
So good. Yeah, she was definitely my ideal of, and people denigrate it, I think, now because they were like, a family, you know, a Black family that had a father who's a doctor and a mother who's an attorney, you know, and all these children who are just great and smart and everything like that. I'm like, but why are you mad about that? Families come in all kinds of flavors. Right. There are super successful families. There are super not successful families in terms of, you know, there's upper class families, there's middle class, lower class, you know, the whole bit. And that was the first time that you saw a Black family who was successful, because you come in, with the Jeffersons, that was, you know, we're moving to the east side, you know, the upper east side and all that kind of stuff, to a penthouse in the sky. But anyway, it's just, I think there's just a difference in seeing that and wanting to have that and be that later on in life. So I rambled, but yes, Claire Huxtable.
No, that was all great. Didn't sound like rambling to me, but yeah, I mean, the same for me as well. And I think, you know, it cannot be overstated the impact that the Cosby Show had, because at that time period in time for television, it was all about dramas, and the sitcom had kind of died down. And so the Cosby Show revived sitcoms. I mean, you wouldn't have a lot of the sitcoms that you had after that. You wouldn't have NBC would not be as big as it is without that, because no other network wanted to do this show. And NBC was the fledgling network at that time. They weren't doing really well. The Cosby Show really saved them and revitalized that network to where NBC ended up becoming like the #1 network down the line. So you can't overstate that how important that show was and how impactful it was. And I think now, you know, younger people may not realize that, or even I think, you know, my generation and millennials might have forgotten that too, the huge impact of that show. So that was the same for me. And a big reason that worked is because of Felicia Rashad's performance and because of Claire Huxtable. And, you know, like you were saying, Carla, earlier about how you wouldn't see moms that had an equal footing in the relationship and in the show and in the dynamics, because comedy works best when you're not trying to be funny. And I think Felicia Rashad understood that you can't just be like, ha, here's the joke. You have to be in character and make the moments real and believable. And that's what she did so well. And that's why it worked so well, because you could believe this mother. You could believe that she was the mother of these children. You could believe that she was married to Cliff. You could believe all of that because of the performance, because of the writing, because of the directing, because of the chemistry of the cast. That cast had incredible chemistry, because we've talked about romantic chemistry before, but it's also important, I think, for other people that work together, like kids and their parents and siblings and best friends, to have really good chemistry too. And the whole cast worked so well together. So I think that's another reason that show was such a success. And I know that now it's, it's overshadowed by other things. And it makes me sad because, lots of shows are overshadowed by that, but people still tend to still watch them and they're still available. But they didn't do that with The Cosby Show. Like, it's really like, I was trying, and I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I was trying to find like a place you could stream The Cosby Show. And like, you can still stream that 70s show. You can still stream Roseanne. You can still stream these shows where there are horrible people that were involved in the shows. And you can't find that with The Cosby Show. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, Carla and Tiff. Is it streaming anywhere that you know of? Because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, no. I could interest you in some VHSs from 1984 or thereabouts.
You still have those?
They're still in Mexico, but I'm pretty sure we still have
That's
them.
amazing. I'm sorry, but that makes me that's so cool, Carla. That is so incredible.
Yeah.
So awesome to get physical media. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're still in like viewable condition because they've been there for a while, but like I remember going back every summer to be with my family, and we would just watch them over and over again even then.
Oh, and I bet the commercials, like if you were to watch that now.
Oh, the commercials. Yes. There were so many commercials that, again, not knowing any English, they just looked like fun. They looked like, food that I wanted to try. It was like, what is a little squishy white thing? It's a Pillsbury Doughboy, apparently. It has a name. But like, I remember this one commercial, like, now you can, now you should. Pillsbury microwave, it's Pillsbury good. I did not know any of those words until the 90s.
I love that so much.
That's amazing, man.
So I looked it up, Erin. Philo has it.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Philo has it. And then Amazon Prime, but I think it's like you have to pay the extra on Prime to do it. So you can't just have the Prime subscription. You have to pay like the $1.99 on it too. So,
so it's like buying it basically?
Yeah, it's like buying it essentially. Yeah, renting it. Yeah, but it's there. It says Philo has the subscription for it. So I guess it's also not just the free version of it.
Yeah, but I mean, if they have the 24/7 Family Ties channel, you can have the 24/7 Cosby channel.
I think, I mean, objectively speaking, I think the Cosby Show is more successful, more popular than Family Ties, Roseanne, Seinfeld, all of those shows that have, like you said, these problematic people who were either like creators, stars, whatever, producers, and you don't have that except on these Philo's pretty niche, I think. Yeah, Prime is Prime, but, an additional cost on top of it. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I just want to bring up that VCR that my dad brought us back in the early 80s lasted us through the 2000s, through like I think it was like 2010 or something that my grandmother finally got rid of it because it got repaired. It did have to get repaired a few times, but it worked for that long. And it had that kind of remote control that was a wired remote.
One of those.
Yeah. Like the early remote controls, because it wasn't just like you pointed it and it works. Like you had to plug it into the device to get it to work. So like I miss products that actually lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there was something about those. Like I had a VCR for like ever, like until like 2006 or something like that. That had one of those that was the pop-up one.
Yeah.
Instead of like just the...
Love that. So satisfying.
The fancy ones. Those are so cool.
The satisfaction you got from that. I think that was our second one that we got. We had the regular one that, you just pushed in, but then we also had the pop-up. Oh, just the satisfaction. Yeah. Did you have a VCR rewinder? The separate one?
Yes.
I don't. Yes. I think I got one later, but I knew like I was so used to them from Blockbuster because we used those all the time.
Yeah, I had a good time the first time we had that. I was like, because it went so
It is
fast.
They do
Yeah,
go
it
really
was so
fast. Yeah.
so
Exactly.
efficient.
Like, what is this magic?
Magical.
What we would do at Blockbuster, we would literally have to, when people were checking out movies, because sometimes people would miss them, and we'd open it, and if it wasn't rewound, we'd be like, well, we can just rewind this for you really quickly while you're checking out.
Look at that customer service.
Yeah. Mine would just fine us.
Yes.
What was annoying when people wouldn't rewind, that was super annoying.
It says it right there, people. Be kind, rewind.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about 3 of our favorite Black sitcom moms.
Everything feels easier in the summer. Or at least it should. The days are a little more relaxed, and you just want those pieces that are comfortable and can be worn again and again. This episode is sponsored by Quince. Quince focuses on well-made essentials that naturally become those everyday staples you actually live in all season long. Their tees are soft enough to live in all day, and their lightweight cotton sweaters are exactly what you want when summer nights cool down. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories to cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for exceptional quality, not brand markup. Quince's linen shirt is a game changer. You can wear it an embarrassing number of times this summer, and it never goes out of style or out of comfort. And Quince isn't just about clothing. It has become a trusted favorite for everything from home to travel to everyday essentials. Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/wizardio for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's quince.com/wizardio for free shipping and 365-day returns. quince.com/wizardio.
So, Carla, who are 3, I know it's hard, but who are 3 of your favorite Black sitcom moms?
It actually was less hard than I thought it would be, because there are some that I'm apparently very, very, what's the word, passionate about. One of them, Harriet Winslow from Family Matters. Jo Marie Payton was, I think, like, just so good in that role. And, you know, people always talk about Urkel and they talk about Laura and they talk about Carl. But I think without Harriet, you just don't have, like, the heart of the show, because she's the one who kind of made things make sense, because that show was nonsense in so many ways. But she made it so that the structure worked, because Carl could be just so single-minded, especially in his hatred of Steve and like his like being like, get this child out of my house. You know, somebody call CPS because his parents apparently are never around. That should have really been what happened, because like, what do you mean Steve is just roaming the neighborhood, popping into people's houses, like just. I think it was just a bit for attention. Honestly, I think like psychologically, poor Steve just wanted to be loved by anybody, and so he was like, "Oh, here are some people who seem to love." Anyway, okay, let's stop psychoanalyzing Steve. That's a weird thing to do. But I really loved Harriet, and she was like a very quiet character in comparison to the others. The others were more showy and, you know, whatever. But I liked her. I thought she was like such a good, loving mom. And I can totally understand why Jo Marie Payton was really ticked off at the fact that like this show that was supposed to be a spin-off about her character from Perfect Strangers suddenly got taken over by this child that nobody had ever heard of before. It's like, who are you and why are you in my show? So I get it. But yeah, I loved her. And again, I think she's like an unsung hero of Family Matters. The next mom that I'll mention is Mary Jenkins from 227. 227 was a show that oh my gosh, I watched it so much. Like, it was on reruns all the time. And by the time I got to the US anyway, and I watched that so much. I loved that show. I loved Jackie Harry because, you know, just such a fun character. But Mary was just, she was just like a nice person, and you didn't want to like push her too hard, but she was like just really, really nice. And I like that she's like such a sitcom who is just there for her family and all of that, but she still has a lot of wit. She's like really funny. She has like really good chemistry with pretty much everybody. And I remember a few years ago when we were talking about Regina King and going back and rewatching some of those episodes and being like, oh yeah, I remember having a good time watching this and enjoying the chemistry between all of the characters. So Marla Gibbs, I thought, was so good in that role. And just pretty much everybody, like such a great cast that they had, like really great performers. And the third one that I'll mention is Geneva Lee from Hanging with Mr. Cooper, played by Sandra Quarterman. Geneva, oh my gosh, she, of all of these sitcoms that I've mentioned, she was the most, like, let's say animated of them. She was like the most, like, kind of over the top one, but it worked really well in that show. It was a show that was very silly and just a lot of fun. It's one of the shows that I think is like really underrated when people talk about shows from the 90s and nostalgia and everything like that. Not enough people, for my liking, talk about Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And Geneva came in the second season. So at first it was Holly... Wait, no. Oh my gosh.
Kim Wayans.
Holly Robinson Pete.
It was Kim Wayans.
No, it wasn't Kim Wayans.
Yeah.
Was it?
Kim Wayans.
Oh
yeah.
my
Holly
gosh.
Robinson
Okay,
Pete was in there. But she came in
right
as the...
I know Dawn Lewis was there
Dawn
too.
Lewis was there too, yeah. But they were like kind of like separate characters. Yeah, it was like kind of in and out. Yeah. I know what you're talking about though. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay. But so she didn't come in until the second season. And I think like that's when I started liking the show because I really, really liked Geneva. I thought she was so much fun and her shenanigans because she wasn't a shenanigans person, but she ended up in shenanigans because everybody else was up to shenanigans. So it was just good and wild time. But most importantly, she had that one iconic moment where she burst through the doors because her baby's being picked on by this one, like, this big kid. So she bursts through. She's like, who's been messing with my baby? And listen, as a parent, whenever, like, I feel like, yeah, right? Like, whenever I feel like somebody is messing with my kid, in my head, that's why pops out and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I need to calm down. Like, that is my internal, like, what's going on inside of me. But I'm like, I can't go bursting through doors and like shouting at a small child. I really shouldn't do that. And I rewatched that moment because like it's clipped everywhere. And I watched that clip over and over again today because it's just so funny and it's so good in the way that she plays it. It's so explosive and over the top. But that's what made Geneva so great is that she like has so much like charisma and so much life to her that in a world where you have the blueprint of Claire and you have Mary and you have these and Harriet and these moms who are they're very put together and they're very staid and they're very logical and reasonable. You have this one person who was like, you will not talk to me that way. You will not talk to my child like that. You don't even look at my child or anybody affiliated with my child. And we are going to have a problem if you do not behave yourself. In a world of these wonderful moms, you need a Geneva. You need somebody who is going to, make the scene crackle. Sandra Quarterman, she doesn't, she's not involved in show business anymore. But I think she was a real breath of fresh air in the sitcom world. I loved her as Geneva Lee. Geneva was like, and also, she was gorgeous. So I was always like, oh, Geneva's on the screen. Not understanding why. I'm like, oh, why am I excited that Geneva's on the screen? Well, it's okay.
She's very pretty. Very, very pretty.
Yes.
Yes. I love that scene. That's so funny. And shout out to In Vogue for a great intro song. Bring back the intro song.
Yes. I listened to it again today and I was like, this song was so
good. It was so good. Yeah.
Cooper. Yes.
Mr. Cooper now. Yep.
So Tiff.
Well, apparently Carla and I had the same childhood, even though, she was possibly living in Mexico than down in South Florida. But apparently we had the same childhood. I had all three of them on my list too. No, I'm not shedding my
amazing.
face.
I mean, oh, how cool. Oh, how cool. Whatever. I don't care. It's so cool.
So I'll use different ones since you use those three because there's so many. That's what I do love about this topic is because there are so many to choose from. So I'm going to go with the original Vivian Banks, Janet Hubert from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who also I think had a similar kind of style to Claire in that she was this professor. She was so professional, so well put together. Let's not forget a fabulous dancer. Hello, shout out to the to the best modern dance scene possibly on television. And just her her banter with Phil and then with the kids. I mean, because her children, Lord have mercy, they gave her the business as well. Hillary, Carlton, and Ashley. Ashley to a lesser extent, but Hillary and Carlton just were just nonsense. And then, obviously having Will and, basically having him like a son. He's like a nephew son. So just an amazing performance, I think. Of course, that third season when she got actually pregnant and was having a hard time, hormonal shifts and things like that. And they fired her. Yeah, that sucks big time. And I don't recognize that second Aunt Viv. I don't know her. Sorry to that woman. I don't know you. So, yes. So Janet Hubert, Aunt Viv from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm also going to go with less traditional, but still really funny and really grounded. And I know Carla loves Jack Hay. Erin, I'm pretty sure you like Jack Hay too. Lisa Landry.
Yeah, I watch her every week on days where I like to do this.
Lisa Landry from Sister, a single mom who adopted a baby girl. And then when said baby girl finds her twin sister in a department store in a mall as they're teenagers, she I shouldn't say that, but she just folds Tamara under her wing too. So it's like having this built-in stepmom or like another adopted mother. And I just love her dynamic with the twins because she does treat them differently. She does not treat them the same. She knows that she has to treat Tia differently than she treats Tamara because Tia is like super smart, super serious at times, very focused. And Tamara is a bit of she's kind of a space cadet at times. She's flighty. She kind of flies by the seat of her pants and doesn't always want to like stay grounded and stay, focused on the same things that Tia focuses on. And I like the fact that she recognizes the differences. She doesn't coddle Tamara, not at all, but she does treat her differently, which is a testament, I think, to her, the goodness of her as a parent, as a mother, because a lot of the times it's like, oh, they're twins. I'm going to treat them the same. They're identical twins. They're the same person. Let's just treat them the same. But I like the fact how she recognized the differences between the two girls and that she just, she loves Tamara like her own, just like she loved Tia. And even when they wanted to find out more about their birth parents, she didn't get, especially Tamara, when Tamara wanted to learn more about their birth parents, she wasn't truly offended by it. And she wanted to help how she could. And which was a lot harder back in the 90s to do that because, DNA.
Yeah. No Ancestry.com.
That's what I'm saying. No Ancestry.com, no 23andMe. It's like you have to really go to a lab and do all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I just think, and Jack A knew the assignment. So funny. Like when she got a little bit of money, she's like, I got you what you always wanted. And Tia's like, like a car. So then she's like, a Mr. Microphone. Stuff like that. Just so funny. So clever. So charming. Right. And my third, I'm also going to go with a stepmom. I'm going to go with Dee Mitchell from Moesha and played by the ever beautiful Cheryl Lee Ralph. Like, ma'am, can we get the skincare routine? Can we please? Can we drop the skincare routine for us? Because like when we say black don't crack, she's like the blueprint.
She
and Angela Bassett are the blueprint, okay? And I like D, Moesha. She was not nice to D. She was, and I'm sure it's difficult. I can't be in the same position because, I obviously, my mother is right here. My parents are still married. So having a father who is remarried, I'm sure there's some difficulty in that. But Moesha was not nice to D. She was really not nice. And it took, I think, 3-4 seasons for her to kind of warm up to her. And it wasn't until Dee's niece came and told Moesha, hey, you know what? You should give her a chance. She's pretty cool. Her niece, played by Laura from Family Matters. Why can't I remember the girl's name?
Oh, yes.
I can't remember her name right now.
Oh,
Man, I am.
Kimberly S. Williams?
That sounds familiar. That really sounds familiar. I think you're onto something, Carla. Anywho, I was just like, oh yeah, that's my girl from from Family Matters. Love that. And it wasn't until then, I think, where she really starts warming up to Dee. I love the way her interactions with Miles, who was, of course, much younger than Moesha, and didn't have the same relationship, I think, with the mother, just with their mother, because he was so young when she passed away. Kelly, that's her name. Kelly Shaneen Williams. Kelly Shaneen Williams. But I think Dee, throughout it all, she was very loving to both of them. She was very in tune to their interests and what they wanted to do in life. And Cheryl Lee Ralph was upset with the last couple of seasons. She actually was not really there because they obviously wrote Frank as having, a kid outside of his marriage to his late wife. And that was just because Sonia Norwood, Brandy Norwood's mother, who of course played Moesha, wanted to get her brother onto the show. So there you go. Frank's illicit affair.
It was so annoying.
Right? So annoying. And Cheryl Lee Ralph didn't actually like that. She didn't like the direction that it went into because Frank was a solid parent, very involved in his kids' lives and things like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, he had an affair and he had a kid outside of marriage. And then he didn't recognize that child, really. He sent him to live with his sister and blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, whatever. This is dumb. So I get why she was like, no, I'm good. Peace out. But another mom who was a professional, she was a principal. She was always very stylish, always very beautiful. And I like that they showed in that a different type of family, because there are stepmothers who are extremely loving. Yes, you have your evil stepmothers, but there are stepmothers who are very loving to their stepkids and want to have relationship with them and want to be not a replacement, but be somebody that the kids can count on. And I feel like Dee Mitchell did that. So those are my 3. Even though Carla picked my original 3.
Cups. I just love how aligned we were on that. Because honestly, I thought nobody was gonna remember Geneva at all in the first place.
I remember her busting through those doors because I was like, she looks like the Kool-Aid man when she busted.
Oh,
so funny.
And it's when they talk about amazing sitcom moments, why is that not constantly mentioned?
Should be on a loop. Honestly, it should be on a loop.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's pretty much mentioned almost all of mine. So I'm going to mention 2 here. Well, first, Vivian Banks is probably my favorite and the original, because even though Claire Huxtable would be right up there for me too, but I really, really loved the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so much. And I loved watching that show. And I still I can probably sing every word for the opening theme song, which once again, bring those back. You're so right. Bring those back. But so I'm going to this is probably not going totally in line with the criteria that Carla set up, but I'm doing this also because this is a show that nobody talks about ever. And it was on Fox, and it's that show Rock, ROC.
Yes.
Nobody ever talks about
It was
this
on my
show.
list, Erin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
My notebook is right here. It's on my list.
She's my number 4.
Oh, good.
She's my number 4. That show does not get enough love.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, it's about, Charles Dutton is in it, and he plays sanitation worker, and his wife, played by Eleanor, she is a nurse, and, then there's a whole family that he's dealing with. I mean, you've got amazing people like Carl Gordon and all these incredible, this was one of Jamie Foxx's earlier roles. You've got just great people in this cast, and it is a show that nobody talks about or remembers, and it was so good. And I loved her, and her, their relationship was one of those relationships that you kind of wish to have and aspire to, because they were on such equal ground and equal footing, and they, I don't know, they had this amazing chemistry that, also incorporated friendship chemistry, and I thought she was so good and really underrated and not talked about enough as far as, in sitcoms in general. I mean, this show was canceled unfairly and just kind of went off the air. And it was actually got really good ratings. People who watched it loved it. And it was so well written. And
they had those live episodes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I loved that. I loved that vibe that when they did that. So good.
Yes. It had consistently the best acting.
Yes.
Such good acting. Not recognized enough.
Yeah, it was like watching theater performances and everything. So
yeah.
And I just think Eleanor was such a great partner to Rock, and Rock was such a great partner to her. And she was a great mother without the show losing the fact that she was also a woman, and being a mother wasn't going to be her whole personality. And I also appreciate that, because that's also very, very rare. So yay. Glad I knew Carla loved the show. I didn't know Tiff did. So
yes, we've all had the same childhood.
And then I'm going to mention, this is a more recent one. And while I think the show, and I have problems with Anthony Anderson, but while the show kind of leveled off, I do want to give a shout out to Rainbow Johnson, played by Tracy Ellis Ross, just because I thought Tracy Ellis Ross did a fantastic job in the show. And I thought it was a different kind of sitcom mom to see, because especially with her full first name, I mean, she went by Bo, but her full first name being Rainbow, and coming from kind of a hippie background of as far as her parents, and just having to put up with her husband, who kind of, I don't know, wasn't always the most generous husband, in my opinion, on the show. So I'm not going to say much more because I keep losing my voice. I'm sorry. But I just wanted to give a shout out to a recent one as well. Okay, so Carla, has there been a decade that has had better representation than others, do you think?
Yeah, totally. I think the 90s probably had some of the best well-rounded sitcom moms. The ones that were neither caricature nor hyper, I guess, hyper fantasy, where the whole strong black woman movement, where strong black woman means that she's had to put up with a lot and has survived a lot, and she is basically superhuman. And she can't just be a person. She has to be the most amazing, most, morally superior and intelligent and. Also, another thing to consider there is that, can you even come up with very many sitcom moms in the last decade? And I would say not more than one or two. And that's partly, there's racist and misogyny part of it. But there's also the fact that sitcoms have just kind of gone out of fashion, and sitcom is not as bankable. At least studios don't seem to think so. Networks don't seem to think so. But if you look at how many of the shows that are streamed repeatedly are old sitcoms. You know, you have Friends, you have other shows that I can't think of that are streamed a lot. People want to laugh. People want a sitcom. We may not necessarily want a laugh track, but we want to be entertained in a way that's maybe lighter and where people are just being humans interacting with other humans, and there aren't supernatural elements to contend with, and there aren't huge world events. Not everything needs to be a special event episode. Not everything needs to have a moral lesson. Sometimes we just want to see families, and we want to see people being loving to each other. If you look at it, there are plenty of Black moms in dramas, and I'm talking about like in modern shows. There just are not a lot of just funny Black moms. And I think that that's a real disservice to the world, frankly. But also, kids growing up don't have a Claire Huxtable to aspire to be. They don't have somebody who is just, wow, what a cool lady. I would love to meet somebody like her. I would love to, be accomplished like her. And in part, there's like, part of me fears that it's the world being like, well, those women don't even exist, so why bother? And then the other side of it is like, those women can exist without a lot of trauma informing that. The idea that if you don't have Black pain, then you can't have Black content. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame because look at all these women that we just mentioned. And yes, there were a lot of heavy episodes that particularly Rock, I think, became very much more a drama than a comedy. But for the most part, these women were just women living their lives and enjoying their families and having occasional spats with their unruly kids. And I don't know, I just wish that we could see more of that in today's entertainment landscape, and maybe remember that Black people are more than suffering. Black people are also love and light and fun and joy.
Tiff?
Well said, Carla. Well said. I am also going to stick with the 90s because I think the 70s was about a lot of hefty things, even if they had probably the one outlier being the Jeffersons, because that was the late 70s. And, Wheezy was living kind of the high life and did not have the same amount of stress that somebody, let's say from the early 70s, Julia, played by the lovely Diane Carroll, had, because she was a widow, obviously. And then a lot of widows, honestly,
Yes.
A lot of widows. Like, I'm like, okay, you all can stop.
Even Florida became a widow.
Killing husbands. Like, this is crazy. Goodness. Florida Evans. And I have my issues with Florida Evans because I think she's actually one of the worst TV moms. Shout out to you, Esther Roll. I know you were a fantastic star of stage and screen. But Florida Evans, if I catch you in these streets, you and I are going to have a problem. So, I still remember when Michael painted that Black Jesus and she's like, that in my house. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, the 90s, all of my choices except for, and I took her out of the equation for top 3. Simply because, she was like the blueprint for me for that first question that you asked, Erin. So I took Claire out of that conversation. But all of them, with the exception of Mary from 227, everybody else is in the 90s. I also had it only aired for one season, but to me, I actually love this show. Thea. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yes, I loved
it. Had 19 episodes.
Yeah.
It was on ABC. You know what ABC stands for? Always be canceling. And played by Thea Vidal, and another widow. But she's a comedian. Yes. So she knew how to make it comedic. And then it was just about like her trying to balance literal work-life balance between all these kids that she has, and then trying to do 2 jobs, working as a cashier, and then as a beautician at night. So everybody else, Jerry Peterson from The Parenthood. I just had all of these in the house. I had all of these from the 90s that just were so different, but so funny as well. And I can't think of any other decade that really had that. Cosby Show aside, Cosby Show and 227 aside from that. And like you said, Carla, it's like the sitcom is honestly is dead at this point in time, like with the exception of Abbott Elementary. And I don't know if there's a real, I don't watch it. Don't tell Fergie. So don't tell her. So I don't know how if there's a mother dynamic in that.
Shirley Lee Ralph. I didn't mention her because she's a mom, but the relationship, the mother-child relationship is not a prominent factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, who do you have to pinpoint at this stage of the game? Everything is either drama or it's just non-existent. So for me, I think the 90s is the capsule that you look at for Black sitcom moms, from the ones who are a little bit more dramatic to the ones who are just like absolutely silly and funny, and the ones who bridge the gap between the two. The 90s, the 90s, the 90s.
Yeah, not much more to add because I think that's kind of, I think that would be probably the consensus if you were to ask everybody too. Because if you look at the shows that were around then and the networks and what was happening on television, because it's definitely not the 2000s. And so, yeah, definitely ditto all of that. And yeah, the sitcom is kind of just like dead. I mean, it really is like, I mean, laugh tracks, I'm fine not having laugh tracks back, to be honest. Like One Day at a Time, when that was revived, that took me forever to get into because of the laugh track, even though it's a really good show. But the laugh track was so like distracting at first that I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. But yeah, sitcoms, I mean, we do need some levity in this world, especially right now. So yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And speaking of that, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we are going to talk about what your hopes are for the future of sitcoms and representation. So we'll be right back.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. Ever feel like you're being pushed or pulled in more directions than you can even begin to process? When life demands more than you can give at work, in your relationship, or at home, Talkspace can help. Talkspace provides convenient online access to therapy, psychiatry, and mental health support. Just answer a few questions online and Talkspace will match you with a licensed provider in less than 2 days, with some even offering same-day appointments. Chat with a therapist over live video, audio, or messaging so you can get mental health support that fits your lifestyle and schedule. No taking time off work, no commuting to an office, and no waiting room. Just support that meets you right where you are. Best of all, Talkspace is covered by most major insurance plans with an average copay of $15. Get space when you need it with Talkspace. And now, you can get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com. That's Talkspace.com.
Okay, Carla. So I know we've already said that basically sitcoms are like dead pretty much. But what are your hopes for the future of sitcoms if they could come back and then representation?
I think that we're primed and ready for a sitcom revival. I really think that we just need some enterprising, forward-thinking studio out there and network to create and air it. Because I think this is like the right time for sitcoms to make a big comeback. With everything going on in the world, people just want some levity. We want to laugh. We don't want to watch suffering every day of the week. We don't necessarily want to steep ourselves in it in our fictional worlds as well as in our real life. I mean, I'm saying this after having just read like several Octavia E. Butler books that tore my heart to pieces, but whatever. Yes, please make me laugh. I think that we're ready for a show that has a trans lead. I think that we're ready for the trans lead to be a person of color, preferably a Black woman. I think would be a fantastic character, and not make her being trans the impetus for the show existing. It's just like part of who she is. I think that family sitcoms this is also a really good time for family sitcoms to come back, because if you're talking about the attention economy and kids, and you're looking at the shows that they're watching, like on Disney and I don't know what other channels kids watch, but a lot of those shows, the thing that I don't like about them is that the kids are really disrespectful to their grown-ups. And I don't know why that became the standard. Like the kids really mouth off to their parents. And I'm not saying that like every parent is necessarily like somebody who merits all of the respect in the world, but there certainly is room for there to be good parents who do inspire love and not just sass. And for kids, for kids to have normal kid problems, not everything needs to be an existential crisis. Sometimes kids can just scrape their knee, and sometimes kids can just have a crush, and sometimes like kids can just have their first period, and that's all we need, and that's fine. Not every show needs to be groundbreaking in a, we're breaking new ground in tackling how teens deal with drug addiction, and, specifically, obviously, Euphoria, as I'm talking about. Kids can just be kids. Not every kid is Rue, and not every kid needs to be Rue. And yes, those stories have their place, but so does fun, and so does lightness and just joy. And yes, you can have your special episode every now and then, okay? Like, fine. I worked for Blossom, like 13 episodes a year, but it doesn't have to be like the only thing that happens. Yeah, my God, Blossom became like special episode factory.
You know what? I lived for those though. Tonight on a very special episode of Blossom.
I lived for the ones that centered Anthony, because Anthony was my favorite. And everybody's like, "Oh, Joey." I'm like, keep your Joey. I want Anthony.
Had a lot of just interesting. I won't go off on that tangent, but yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Talk about a very special episode about what happened to the actress. Oh man,
right?
Good
Lord, jeez. That's huge disappointment. Like an incredibly smart person and so talented, and
yet, yes,
yeah. And speaking of those very special episodes, because I watch Family Ties all the time. I don't know if you remember the special episode when Tom Hanks played Elisa's brother. He was on 2 episodes, and he came back and he was an alcoholic. And there's the moment, and it's in the kitchen, and Alex is there, and he's desperate for alcohol. Not Alex, but Elisa's brother. And he's looking everywhere for it. He's like looking at maraschino cherries, and then he downs a bottle of vanilla extract.
Yeah.
So you know how low he's sunk.
Oh my
and
God.
how much he wants that alcohol.
Disgusting. Oh my gosh.
He literally like opens it up, downs it, and then he says, Don't drink and bake, or so don't drive and bake, or something like that."
Which is like hilarious. I mean, I'm sorry, but like a whole bottle of vanilla is gonna have what?
Like 0.02 volume.
But that's how desperate he was, Carla. That's the point. Anyway, yeah, those very special episodes.
Risking it all.
Bring it back. I don't know what it would be today. It'd be like those vaping or something. Like there'd be a special episode.
It would be AI and guns.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
that's the episode. Boom! I just wrote an episode for you right now. AI and guns. That's your premise. And go.
Make some magic.
That's a 3-parter right there. You're welcome.
So Tiff,
can I just say I miss the simplicity of Jesse on caffeine pills? Like I miss the simplicity of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the modern day equivalent of caffeine pill would be what, Celsius, or like some kind of energy drink. It would be something like that.
Red
Red
Bull.
I have addiction to Red Bull. I totally agree about the diversity of characters that you could bring to a sitcom now, especially with Black women leads, whether that's a trans woman or not. I think that just having a Black woman lead is important for like viewership, because we want it. I mean, everybody wants to
Yeah.
see themselves reflected in some way. And there's like literally nothing. Like you said, Carla, everything doesn't have to be this big production about, oh, my daughter's on drugs. Oh, my daughter's an alcoholic. Oh, she has to go to rehab. Can't we just have the one where like the kid is sneaking out and falls out the window? Like, I mean, can't we have something like light
Yes.
like that? And not,
Seriously.
drunk driving, not
Not everything needs to be leaked
exactly.
nudes.
Everything doesn't have to be like that. It could be somebody that is, somebody swipes a tube of lipstick, something like that, something like that. Not that kids don't steal. That's bad. Don't be a klepto. Don't be a klepto. Or, cheating on a test. Don't do that either, kids. But things like that, I think there is a form of nostalgia that we are missing. And not to say that today's issues that kids face or adolescents face aren't important. They are. But I think there's something to be said for the lighter side of things and to have like these actual comedic moments. Like I miss comedy. I miss it so much. I miss laughing at things. And I know you mentioned One Day at a Time, Erin. I loved that reboot of it. Laugh track was a lot. But I did love the idea of a family a non-traditional family, a multi-generational family, which I think is also a great thing to see. If you have a single mom with a grandparent, like what about a grandfather? A lot of times you see a grandmother with them. But what about a grandfather? Something like that. Or an uncle, a great uncle. Just an elder in the family that's helping along and you're living multi-generationally because hello, in this economy,
yes, it would be so relevant.
It would be totally relevant. Totally.
And if we have a grandfather, can we make him not grumpy?
Can we make him a fun grandpa? Can he be a fun grandpa? Like seriously, like a grandpa who is happy to take the kids to soccer practice or to piano lessons or something like that, is not always constantly grumping. Just, be a fun grandpa. Be the grandpa that everybody wants.
The issue of the week is grandpa threw his back out. I can't take you to ballet.
That's the issue of the week. Grandpa is laid up like, oh, my back. Something like that. So I think something like that, diverse family relationships would be a great way to reintroduce the sitcom, because that also speaks to today's economic hardship that a lot of people have. You have Gen X and elder millennials who literally are taking care of their parents, themselves, and their children, who are also possibly close to grown or grown if they're Gen X, Like I know me being an exennial, and I mean, you all are too. So like, keep it a buck. You're exennials. I won't hear of it. I don't hear of it. You're not Gen X. You're not just Gen X.
Oh no, believe me, I'm very firmly in the camp that I'm not an
we're
X,
a pocket generation right now because we have just as much lived experience in the 80s as we do in the 90s. A lot of our formative years were in the 90s. So dealing with possibly almost grown children, parents that are getting elderly, and then yourself firmly in the middle, I think is something that is gold for a good writing team to capture. And nobody's doing it. With the exception of, and I'm glad you brought it up, Erin, with Blackish, because I did think that was a good version of multi-generational kind of comedic framing, even though they're not living in the same house. There's somebody in the, in the pool house or in the, the ADU or something like that. But yeah, I do think that worked on us. That was a good example of it. But I would like to see more stories like that. And Blackish went off the air how long ago? So there's been nothing since that I can think of. I don't watch a lot of network TV anymore, which is weird because I used to watch all the things and now I watch none of the things because nothing interests me. Everything is a procedural. Everything is, FBI. Everything is a profiler. Stuff like that. And I'm just like, no, been there, done that. Bring something back that people can laugh at. that people will, we get 30 minutes of just, this is gut-bustingly funny. Although I don't have a lot of hope in today's writing. Today's writing is hot trash. Hot trash.
That is true, sadly.
Yeah,
I'll just add that I think, especially with the way the world is right now and what we're going through right now, I think a key element in, you have to be informed, everything like that. But I think a key element in order to keep wanting to fight and to survive in the world is to have that levity, those moments of levity and the lightness and the simplicity in a way of having like a show like that where you would have like this very special episode where it would be like about, that throwing the back out is just, I loved that idea. The grandma throwing his back out, or, like caffeine pills, or like, someone, like stealing the lipstick or something like that, where it's, they could be big deals, but they're not as big as what we are dealing with in the wider picture. And I think it is essential, or it should be essential, to have some of that on the landscape. And there isn't. I mean, it's just kind of like, and I don't watch network TV either, except for stuff that comes on later. Like, I watch Abbott Elementary on Hulu, so I don't watch it like live or anything. So we need that though. And once again, the laugh tracks, we don't necessarily need that, but
no. Oh, please.
But yeah. Well, thank you, Carla and Tiff, and thank you again, Tiff, for suggesting this topic. I thought this was a really great conversation, so thank you both for being here, and thank you. And it is time to play 6 Degrees of Mr. Finn Wittrock. And with this, you can connect Finn to any TV show that was mentioned in 6 degrees or less. So did you both play?
I did, which I fully remembered more than 5 minutes ago.
And Tiff did too. So Carla, what did you use and how did you?
I went with Jackie Harry because she's a delight. And okay, so Jackie Harry was in The Last Day of Summer with Brendan Miller. Both of those are things that I totally knew about before this. Who was in the Snow Propaganda Deep Water with Finn Wittrock.
Nice.
Paula's new favorite movie.
Yep. Snellaganda. Mm-hmm.
So Tiff.
I mean, apparently we are one. We are Borg, Carla, because I also used Jack Hay, and she was in The Cotton Club with Mark Margolis, who was in Noah with Finn Wittrock.
Ah, and his horrible long hair wig.
Yes.
I've seen that, but it's horrible.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I just don't understand.
That is the only time I've heard you speak disparagingly of his hair.
But it wasn't really his, so it's okay.
Exactly. See, it was, yeah. When we did our marathon streaming event a couple of years ago, we did that where we decided the best hair. We ranked his hair. And I remember we were arguing over the worst hair for like ever. And I'm like, there's nothing can beat this Noah hair. And I was like, well, this is kind of, I think, a little bit. I'm like, no, this is not. So, yeah, it's horrible. I used Malcolm Jamal Warner, the late, great Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was it was an American Crime Story. And normally I try to avoid Ryan Murphy ones, but I decided to for this one. And also in one of the American Crime Story segments was Finn Wittrock. So there you go. You could also just use lots of Ryan Murphy stuff to connect. That man needs to be stopped. I don't know if you've watched that trailer for Lizzie Borden, the Lizzie Borden show.
Somebody take the laptop, take the typewriter, take the word processor, take all the pens and all the pads away from this man. He is a menace to media and society.
Yeah, that new show, The Shards. I was like sick, so I blame it on that I watched a few of those episodes. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen on television, ever. But yeah. Well, thank you again to Carla and Tiff for joining me for this week's episode. We're going to go ahead and close out. And Carla, from OK Real Quick, tell everybody about that amazing podcast.
Happy to do so. You can find OK Real Quick wherever you found this podcast. You can also, I keep telling you, look for our social media at OK Real Quick Pod. and I may or may not be there, blah, blah, blah. But sincerely, if you're still on social media and that's still your bag, follow It's a Fandom Thing instead. But if you feel so inclined, look for Okay Real Quick Pod. I have a website, which is, I think, better than my social media presence, and that's carlatemis.com. And you may be like, oh, I thought we were talking about Okay Real Quick. We still are, friend. I have a page for my podcast on my website. That's carlatemis.com. Look for my podcast tab, and oh my gosh, podcasts listed for your convenience.
So, Tiff,
You can find me across the interwebs at Who Is Tiff Is Me, but I'm mainly on the Discord with the rest of the It's a Fandom Thing pod crew, where we're chatting it up about all sorts of things like television, like sitcoms, and also theater, movies, books. Got a lot of good book recommendations right now, so definitely come and check that out. It's a lot of fun. Come along and say hello.
Hello. Yes. Fergie the dog someday will forgive Tiff for not watching Abbott Elementary.
I'm so sorry, Fergie. I'm so sorry.
Because Fergie loves that show. That's Fergie's favorite sitcom ever is that one, because normally what she likes is horror and true crime. But she's a cute dog that you can follow on TikTok at Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. To find links to all our past episodes and links to our social media, including the Discord server that Tiff mentioned, head on over to our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And while you're there, consider becoming a Patreon supporter today. For as little as $3 a month, you get ad-free content, you get episodes a day early, and you get bonus episodes like we will be releasing, or it should be out by now, our bonus episode covering the final season of The Bear. We will be releasing one covering the Vampire Lestat. We'll have some great bonus episodes in September. I'm not going to reveal the music one yet. And then we'll also be doing Practical Magic 2 at some point, either in September or October. Plus, in October, it's our horror trivia event, our annual horror trivia event. Tiff is going to be one of the contestants. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you can win prizes and not have to know a lick of trivia. Although I'm going to add a couple of little interesting things in there to make it a little bit more interesting. But you could win some prizes. So head on over to our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. Click the Support Us tab there, or you can click the link in the show notes. And next week, and this was a listener suggestion, we are going to be talking about the Apple TV show Shrinking. And joining me for that is Ishelle and Sarah. And this was a first-time watch for me, and I am loving this show. It's very funny. Speaking of comedies, it's funny. It does deal with like a lot of heavy stuff, but I really, really, really am enjoying it a lot. So until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and Free Palestine.
Professional truck and bus drivers train for thousands of miles. But even the best drivers need more space to maneuver their long vehicle around a tight corner. That's why trucks and buses swing wide before they turn. That space beside the truck isn't an opening. It's the room the driver needs to make the turn. So when a truck or bus swings wide, hang back. Give the vehicle room to turn. Stay clear, stay safe. America's pros rely on you. Paid for by FMCSA.